listening to the voice 17104.com.
Welcome to Let's Talk About It. I am Wendy Nochirione. I'm one half of the co-hosting team. Taft, of course, is away at school, taking a class. So Taft, hang in there, keep your head up and work hard. And I am being joined by my very, very special guest, Brian Hickman, Brian King Prolific Hickman, as a matter of fact. Brian, how are you?
Peace. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. And hopefully Jason Benefield will be able to get on and will still be able to come and join us, but I will do introductions when he gets there. Brian, it looks like you are in your studio.
I am. I'm at work. I'm just finishing up a piece, just cleaning up some last minute details.
Okay. I think we've got a picture. So when we get into the pictures, we'll get a chance to see it a little bit. We'll get a chance to see it a little bit better, a little more up close. It is so wonderful to have you on. We met, so would have that been like Martin Luther King weekend or something?
Yeah, it doesn't even seem that long ago.
Right, at the Civic Club in Harrisburg. And Brian was, he was one of the vendors and one of the artists that was showing his work. And we just hit it off right away. And I don't know if any of you have experienced it, but when you meet someone and you can just instantly see how genuine they are, just talented, like amazing, good-spirited brother, right away I was like, this, before I even knew he was an artist, I was like, because I had my little table with my oils and things out, and I was like, I need to know who he is, just right away. So I am grateful for you being here. I'm grateful for the opportunity to have met you. But since then, I've been so proud. Like, I'm following your page and just seeing it. When you see someone doing their thing, I'm one of those people where I'm happy for other people. I'm happy for your successes. And I feel like your successes is a part of my success because we're all connected. So when you do good, you make us look good. So I'm really excited about that. So how's your week been?
It's been great. And first of all, I'm honored to be on your platform. Thank you for sharing it with me. It's been a week of balancing production and rest as well. So I'm actually in the process of working on a new body of work. It's something that as an artist, I think it's my way of pouring into myself a lot more because with the rest there comes kind of breaking away from just the business side of what I do. It's definitely a dream to use your passion to make a means of living for yourself, but the big challenge that comes with that is you don't want to lose your passion, that fire that you have to create just for the simple means of creating. So it's just been a process of me diving back into that realm of things and just creating things that mean a lot to me.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. Especially, there's a saying or a quote that says that when you do what you love for a living, you'll never work again.
Absolutely.
And so it's amazing. It's a blessing to be able to do that, but it's amazing, and it's amazing to watch and see. Not that I'm doing that just yet, but as one of my personalities gets to do what she loves. So,
Yeah.
and this is it, meeting people like yourself, sharing, sharing the different things and the different people that I've been blessed to meet. So definitely. Now, are you originally from Harrisburg?
Yes, I am born and raised.
Born and raised in Harrisburg. Okay.
Yeah.
Something else you don't meet. You don't, well, not take that back. You do meet a lot of people from Harrisburg. You do. I mean, well, of course you're in Harrisburg, but some cities, you don't. But
Yeah.
I think that's also because there is a lot of talent here. And I just don't know that people get to see, I don't know that people get to see the talent. Like even oh, now I'm not going to be able to call it the Singers Lounge.
Oh yeah.
The Singers Lounge. And so once a month, there's a group, and she puts together this, they call it the Singers Lounge. They have it on 3rd Street, and people who are, to me, they're professional singers, but I guess they just haven't made it to the big, they haven't made it to the big screen yet, So it's they come and they sing, and they take turns singing. And when you hear them, you're like, oh my goodness, like that is amazing.
Right.
So, and that's the way I feel. That's the way I feel about the work that you do. I know that we were talking before about some of the things that you have coming up, and I definitely want to share. I definitely want to share some of those things so that we can put it out there. But one of my questions is, when did you start? Or, well, before we do that, let me do this, because we play Family Feud every week. And so what will happen is I'll ask the question. We'll put the question up for a moment. I'll ask the question, and if you get it wrong, you get a buzzer. And if you get it right, you get the blue. And so those that are watching, so I want to say good evening to Reverend Dr. David T. Miller, pastor of Wesley Union AME Zion Church in Harrisburg on 5th and Camp Street. It's the church that's making an impact in the community. My pastor, David T. Miller, thank you for joining us. I want to say hello to Randy Massey, my mom in Rock Hill, South Carolina. Thank you, Mom, for joining and for always supporting. Let's see, I see. Is that David Walker that I see, maybe? David Walker. So thank you all for joining and for coming in. So, Minister Chris, can we share our Family Feud question? All right. What one thing in your house gets used more than anything else? What one thing in your house gets used more than anything else? And Brian, you can also chime in with answers.
Okay.
You want to guess or, something like that. Our people that are watching will also put theirs in. And then there's also Minister Chris, who is the minister that you met there at the station. He types fast, so he puts in his answers too. So Minister Chris, toilet. See what I mean already?
I'm gonna say sink.
Okay. So top 8 answers on the board. Minister Chris came with toilet. And well, before we go to that, Jason Benefield, how are you?
Hi, I'm here.
Jason Benefield, this is Brian Hickman. Jason is a very dear friend of mine. We met many, many moons ago in Buffalo, New York, and he is now joining us from California. Are you in Los Angeles? Is it?
I am in Los Angeles. Yeah,
Okay, I was gonna make up something else, but in Los Angeles, California. So Jason, I don't know if you saw the question, but it was, what one thing in your house gets used more than anything else? And Chris Thomas hit us with the toilet. And then, so Chris Thomas hit us with the toilet. That is correct. Toilet is the number 2 answer. Then he came with front door. No front door. We had my mom said, Randy Massey said refrigerator.
Mm.
Our refrigerator is number 3. Way to go, Mom.
That's number one for me.
I know. And then Mom said, "Hi, Pastor Miller." So, Jason, you and I had talked. Brian is an amazing artist, an amazing artist, and he's got so many things going on. So I'm glad that we have a chance to talk to him and to hear about the things that he has going on. I think Brian said, David Walker said sync, but I think Brian said sync first. And I guess it really doesn't matter who said it first.
Because it's wrong.
Oh,
Really. As much as our parents made us wash dishes
Right.
back in the day.
So you
Come
got to
on.
figure out which 100 people they ask these questions to. I think that when he does this, he should say, like he said, we asked 100 people.
Survey, yeah.
Which 100 people did you ask? Because that would change the
Right.
answer to some of the questions,
Yeah.
We
So,
surveyed 100 Black moms.
right.
Right.
Then we know.
Yeah.
We know. David Walker says sofa. See, once again, depending on which culture it is, but apparently maybe they did ask 100 Black moms because sofa is not on there either. Then David Walker said TV. TV is the number one answer.
Wow.
TV and remote is the number one answer.
I always lose my remote. I can't even use it.
Now, I don't like that you have to, I don't like that I have to use more than one when I have to use more than one. So I have streaming and, I've got all these, like 8,000 channels, but if you lose that one remote, you are watching 0 channels.
Right.
And then now with the smart TV and the Roku and all of that, then you need another remote for that. And I just, never mind, just give me my tablet.
Yeah.
I want to say hello to Adrian Love Lewis. Adrian, thank you for joining us. So listen, I wanted to tell you guys this story. There was this kid that was born with no body, like just a head, no legs, no arms. It was just a body. And the kid would always, like the mother would sit the child in the window and watch all the kids. And the child was always like, I wish I could go out and run and play with the kids. And so then, he started, growing a body and then like arms and legs, and he just wanted to go out and play with the kids. And the mother was still worried because, she would put her child, in the window. And so she let the kid go out and play. So the kid was out playing ball with the other kids. The ball went in the street and the kid ran in front of a car and got hit by a car. The moral of the story, sometimes it's just better to quit when you're ahead.
Wow. Wow. I'm using that. I've never heard that.
Pray for me, Pastor.
See, I knew right away she was going to a joke.
I was looking at you the whole time, Jason. I was like, where's this going?
I already knew when she was going to a joke. Come on. Nobody, just a head? Absolutely not.
Well,
There's no way that this is a true
it
story.
started off,
No
I
way.
felt sorry for the kids. So I'm just like, all right, this might not be a joke. This might be serious.
That's serious. That's serious. It's true. Better to put it in her head. Anywho.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, my Lord.
Jason, how was your week? Last week you were at Disneyland. We were talking to you from Disneyland. How was your week been?
Yeah, live from Disneyland last week. That was very phenomenal. I always have fun there because we only get on like at least 4 to 5 rides, which happened again. So but this week has been very, very mellow and very calm so far. I sang Choir Sunday yesterday and talked to the publisher so I could be able to start shouting at the rooftops that my book will be available by the end of this week.
All right.
Yeah,
That's what's up.
Thank you so much. Yeah, absolutely. So I'll make sure you get a copy so that I can have an exclusive interview with you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I can't wait. I'm excited. Make sure you sign it and make sure you sign it and put all the stuff in there and everything, and then I'll have it just right here. Like, wow,
Absolutely.
I can't wait. I want to say hello to Janice R. Taylor, my sister. Good evening, my brothers and my sister. Sister Taylor, good to see you from New Jersey. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us. We have Jason Benefield, my guest co-host, who's in Los Angeles, California. And then right here, we have Brian King, Prolific Hickman, who's an amazing artist from here in Harrisburg.
Absolutely.
Yes, really quick. Janice said, what type of book, Jason?
Oh, okay, Janice. Thank you for asking. I know you said what type, but I'm going to give you the title first. It's called The Essential Pain and Peace of Life: The Journey of Unfolding Consciousness, and it's a self-help upliftment type book. That's what it is.
Okay. Okay.
Mhm.
Oh, the brother's deep. I mean, I don't know if you guys can tell by his backdrop. Don't, you
Oh,
know,
yeah.
don't be fooled by the fact that he can be real silly sometimes. But the brother is deep. He's deep.
You know, I'm still thinking about that day when you and I were on, and I told you how Africans started, that we were the first yodelers.
I
So I'm gonna
almost
stop
fell
there.
out
I'm
of
gonna
my
stop
seat.
there.
Yes, I almost fell out of my seat. Janet says, "Is it on the market? Is your book on the market yet?"
Yeah, it'll be on pre-sale uh, by the end of this week. I will let Wendy know so that she can get to you on the exact date that'll be available for pre-sale.
I absolutely will. It'll be all over. It'll be all over. Two things before we go to Brian. Well, a couple of things. So Jason mentioned that we were laughing and he explained how yodeling started. So did you know that the cornhole game is now a major sport?
No,
I'm not
stop,
joking. I'm not
stop.
joking. It is. So the cornhole game is now a major sport. So I'm like, what, because we were talking about curling. Brian, curling
Oh,
with
curling.
the bull.
Yeah.
So now cornholing, like what sport or what game? Because, next it's Uno. Like Uno or spades should be an Olympic sport. And then how for cornholing, how are you training for this? And once again, that's not our sport.
Right.
Though we
Right.
will dominate the sport.
And make our own
Always.
rules around it too.
No, actually, what's going to happen, Brian, is that there's going to have referees, and they're going to control how we play, so that we can't play to our full potential.
Exactly.
Because they're going to keep stopping the game, and they're going to keep on trying to give us technicals and have us pay fines. I'm sorry. I'm talking about something I'm hurt. Excuse me.
No, you on point with it. You definitely on point there. That's we can't make spades professional, because I've seen people fight over spades.
Well, yeah. They would not let spades be a professional. And Uno either, because we're kind of serious about Uno.
Yeah.
That is the only time that you could see a grown man pull out directions for something and be like, what does it say? What does it say? The rules right here. He could put together a whole bed or a desk or a shelf and be like, I don't need to see those directions. And they'd be like, but why do you have all these screws left out? You don't need that. But go ahead and try to put,
I've been to households where they had a dry erase board hanging up, and they had the house rules. This is how we play. So it don't matter what rule book you bring out the box. This is how we play. We're stacking everything.
Yeah, so you're right. So maybe we'll leave Uno, spades, dominoes, backgammon. We'll leave all of those. We'll let those go. But cornhole, watch, mark my words. And how I know this is Buffalo, beloved Buffalo, has a major league cornhole team.
Wow.
How? Like, where are they practicing? Because it's usually a game outside that you see certain people play. when they're like, here, hold my beer, and then they go play.
Right,
See?
right.
So where they,
Are you familiar with bocce? Bocce
yes.
ball?
Well, I'm not familiar, but I know what it is. It's not
But you know about bocce ball.
Yes.
So Whole Foods is now in Buffalo, New York. Did you know that?
Yes, I did know
Okay.
that.
All right, but see, it's really in
Not in
Tonawanda.
Buffalo. Right.
Right. It's not in Buffalo, but it's there
Yes, at
on
Buffalo.
Sheridan. Right.
Yes.
So Brian, if you don't understand the code that I'm saying to Wendy, I'm saying that when Buffalo gets things, it's not in Buffalo, it's in the outskirts of Buffalo, but they keep saying it's in Buffalo.
And they claim
Well, wait,
it.
let me translate. So that would be like the Wegmans that's in Mechanicsburg, and technically it's the Harrisburg Wegmans, but it's
Oh,
it's
Yeah.
on
There
the
you
other
go.
side of the river. Yes.
Yeah.
There you go. Okay, well, there you go. That's
Yeah.
the reference. So bocce, they actually have a bocce court inside of the Whole Foods.
Oh wow.
Oh, that's deep.
Yeah.
That's deep. One, we don't typically shop there, but so I would go just for that. I wouldn't buy anything. I'd be playing bocce and just messing up everything. Just hit it as hard as I can across the store. Let me go back. Adrian Love Lewis said, I made the red velvet cake for the party at Chris and Melissa's Thomas home. Oh my goodness, that cake was amazing. And
Okay.
Adrian, I think you're in Pittsburgh. I think Adrian's in Pittsburgh. That cake was awesome. Janice Taylor, and it's Adrian Love, Adrian Love, Luv, Lewis. If you go on her Facebook page and see those cakes, oh, my mouth is watering. Janice Taylor was talking, we were talking about the game. She said, you must have been to my house. We got rules. I know that's right. We got rules. The second thing, and then I want us to get to Brian, but the second thing, I want to just send a prayer up for the community in Nashville, Tennessee, where they had a school shooting. It was 7 people were killed, including 3 children and 3 adults, and they were saying that the shooter was also the shooter was fatally shot. No, it says the shooter fatally shot 3 students, but they did say that the shooter was killed as well. So I just, with everything going on, it's sad. David Walker said female. David, are you saying that the shooter was a female?
Because I was going to ask you what side of the hand.
Right.
Well, it's not really good for mine because mine's so light on both sides. But
right, I got you.
Yeah.
It says 3 9-year-old children and 3 adults are dead after shooting Monday at the Covenant School. So he said it was this side of the hand shooter was a female. David saying a 26-year-old. Well, CNN said it was a 28-year-old. So, but it was a mid-20s. Entered the building through a side door and was armed with at least 2 assault-style rifles and a handgun. The shooter, who police believe was once a student at the school, was killed during gunfire with the police. Monday's shooting marked the 129th mass shooting in the U.S. so far in 2023, according to the data from Gun Violence Archive. And we could go on and on about it, but one thing I think, regardless of what we believe and what we think, one thing that we can agree on is that it's just unfortunate for this community, for these children, for the children. Other children are in the school as well as their families. So I just pray for this community, the families, and all those that are adversely affected by that. So I just wanted to share that. I want to say hello to Chris Camouflage Williams. Chris Camouflage Williams, thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us. Also from Harrisburg. So Chris, we have Brian Hickman on, also from Harrisburg. So Brian is an artist. So Brian, is there a difference? Like, is there like a difference or a type of artist that you consider yourself? So how would you explain and describe or define it?
Um, I I usually boast that I'm the artist of infinite mediums, and that like I always am trying new things, but like it's usually um I introduce myself as a visual artist. Everything I create can be visually consumed. So that's how.
Okay, okay. Minister Chris, can you share one of his videos with us? Let's start with one of the videos. And Brian, if you want to tell us a little bit about the video as it's playing, feel free.
For sure. Oh, so yeah, this is this piece right here is a recent piece that I'm currently finishing up. It's part of a new series of mine that I'm working on. In each piece of this series, I'm referencing the American flag in different ways. So it might be hard to see in this video, but this is a scene of a racetrack, and you have a black man who is at the starting line, but he's crossing through finish line tape that's also decorated as the American flag. On his leg, you have a ball and chain that's being the links of the chain are being broken. So that part of the painting, it symbolizes how we basically did so much just to be considered equal and American citizens. So at that point, that was the end of one race for us, but the beginning of another. So in that portrait as well, on the other half, you see a man in another lane that's in a business attire. He has a bar of gold in his hand in one hand, and then a torch in the other. That symbolizes, the demographic of this country that we've been behind and trying to catch up on. They solidified their wealth, and they also have a torch to pass on to their next generation. We're just getting started in this race that we're already behind it. So that's the theme of that piece. But
Wow.
this whole series, like this piece, this whole series really questions the word freedom and what it means to us personally. So
That's what's up. That's powerful. Really, really
That is.
powerful.
That
this
is
piece is titled "Second Wind."
second win.
Mm,
Yeah,
Second win.
I like it. I like it.
Mhm.
So do all of your pieces, do all of your pieces, do they start with the theme or the meaning, or do you start painting and then add to it?
I usually like to plan things ahead. More recently, that's been the way I've approach my pieces. One, because I read a lot, so I feel like that's been the cheat code to actually like creating meaningful work. Because as adults, it's our instinct when we finish a book to instantly share that knowledge with another person. So when I can do that through visual elements, it's like I'm illustrating what I've read. And
Mm.
I think it makes people more susceptible to that type of information. Like when I have a historical reference that's embedded into one of my pieces, it provides an opportunity for me to give somebody a history lesson. So I think that's where I've found a lot of fulfillment in.
That's amazing. So when did you start?
Amazing.
Take us back. When did you start? And when did you know this was what you were going to do?
I've been painting and drawing since I was little, since I was able to hold a brush or a pencil. It was just a form of escapism. For much of my life, there was a period where my dad had got locked up. So around that time, I was so young I couldn't like read the letters that he was sending to me. So one of our means of communicating with each other was drawing different cartoon characters, and it was just like a personal challenge between me and him. And then he got my brother involved with it too. So it was one thing I kept with me. And then just having him and my mom being supportive in the way that like we look at our parents for affirmation about a lot of things. And it didn't matter what I was doing around that time. If it was anything that was on a level of personal achievement. They were the first ones to actually cheer for me and brag about me. So that became my means of fulfillment too, just creating things for the purpose of making them happy and giving them something to brag about. So that relationship that I had with art early on in my life just led to me keeping that by my side throughout my years of going to different schools and everything like that. And in elementary school or middle school, I was either known for my scholarship or actually just like the one guy that can draw. So those were two good things to be known for around that time as well. So when I got to high school, that question came like, what do you want to do for a living? And my first initial answer intuitively was art. But around that time, it wasn't a realistic career path to venture off towards. So for me, I had to look towards the next best thing or look towards a career path that could involve art in some way. And for me, it was graphic design. I had picked that up as a skill in high school. So I took that with me to college. And in 2012, I got my Bachelor of Arts degree and a concentration in graphic design. So since then, I think it was a year after that I actually painted my first canvas. I didn't paint anything in college. I painted one piece in college, but it wasn't for a class or anything. I didn't take painting or anything like that. So all of that was just self-taught. But my experience in college on a collegiate level kind of sharpened my focus as an artist and allowed me to take myself more seriously and to be able to handle the art world and what it had to offer as far as like being in galleries and handling critiques from other people and things of that nature.
Wow.
Segueing to the gallery, the fact that you just mentioned about being in the gallery, I see here that you were at the Harlem Film Art Show in New York City. What was that about? Explain, because I mean, first of all, I'm loving the crown. And did you make the outfit? Like that's what I want to know.
The crown was made by my good brother Warren Cobb. Shout out to him. A lot of my jewelry came from him, or it was stuff that either he made or I just made. But the Harlem Fine Art Show, they were celebrating their 15-year anniversary this year. I didn't know anything about them. It was just January hit, and I'm like kind of trying to reevaluate what I wanted for myself as an artist. And one of those things was to break into a more professional scene, which was galleries. I kind of strayed away from it for a while just because of the environment and everything and the politics that are involved with it. So I was just, creating it on a level of just trying to get my name out there. So this year I was like, I think I've matured as an artist enough to actually give that scene another try. So I saw them make a post. It was just from scrolling, and it's like, we're celebrating our anniversary. We need Black artists. This is a art show specifically for Black artists. So we're encouraging people to apply. So I submitted my work, and I think like 2 days later, I get a call from a man named Dion Parker. He is the president of the art show. So he calls me personally and is like, look, I don't call nobody, but I saw your work and I want you in the show. So during that phone call, he had asked me a little bit about myself, where I was from and everything. So I'm giving him my whole bio over the phone. And I get to telling him about some of the stuff I did for my city. And I had mentioned that I've done murals, and then he cut me off and was like, I'm actually on my way to a meeting with JetBlue Airlines right now, and they need a mural in their terminal at JFK International. So not only did he, approve me as a vendor for the show, but he also created that opportunity for me to paint that mural. So that all happened simultaneously.
Isn't that amazing? Minister Chris, there's a couple of pictures of Brian standing in front of a building. And I saw these before I met the person. And when he said I was like, oh my goodness, because Taft and I, especially during the time that they were going up, we were driving by to see how far, how far did they get? And we were like, wow, how do you do? And, it's just amazing. So also, so I don't know, first let me say this. My mom wants to know, do you sell your art?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely, Mom. He said, absolutely. And
Yep.
I have a blank wall that I would love to have a piece on. Um, so you mentioned, and I don't know because you said it so fast because you're modest too. So you have a mural at JetBlue in John F. Kennedy Airport. So
Right.
this is not, that is huge. That is huge. Let's see. Okay, I'll resend them. That's just amazing. And tell us about, because don't you have something else in the works?
I, I have a lot of things in the works right now.
With regards to JFK and the airport.
Yeah. So I had a phone call with the same president from the art show, Dion. He had called me today to check on me and just to let me know that the art show is actually making a virtual space for all of the artists that were involved in the show prior. And then also that he was trying to advocate for me to do at least 2 more murals for JetBlue. So I spoke with him and representatives from JetBlue just to see what that would look like. They're trying to secure funding for that right now. And if they're able to approve their budget and everything and come up with different concepts to do it, the locations of their other terminals that they want murals at is in Miami, and then there's another one in Texas.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Are expenses being paid?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
That's all I
He
want to
said,
hear.
I'm
That's
not
all I want
pulling
to
out
know.
my paintbrush. And yes.
Book my flight.
That
But
is amazing. And to be
That is.
commissioned,
yeah.
so it's one thing. It's one thing when someone likes what you do, and they're just like, oh, that's nice. But it's another thing when they say, you know what, I need someone here and I want this person. And at JFK in Miami and at any airport in Texas. So y'all, if you are traveling, or anywhere and you're in those, go look, take a picture by it and send it to him. My pastor said, whoop, whoop. And it's just amazing. Minister Chris, I think I just sent you some of the pictures. Yeah. So tell us about this.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah. That's probably my most passionate mural. This one, the title of this mural is Rafia. So can I actually share a picture?
Sure. Minister Chris, can he share a picture?
Because I have a clear picture of that.
David Walker said, wow.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that, so while you're trying to pull that up, I don't know if you can, but where is that particular one?
So that is on 928 James Street. It's right across the street from the State Museum in Harrisburg. There's a gas station over there. If you park in the gas station, it's in that parking lot. It's on the side of an apartment building.
That's wonderful. I know you're looking for something to put up, like as far as that mural that you did, which is phenomenal. What artists are your muses? Like, who do you think that you pattern your artwork off of or from?
That's a good question. That's one thing like I really haven't been drawn to. As far as like I love other artists out there. Like I'm inspired by the likes of Basquiat. As far as graphic art, Roy Lichtenstein. There's definitely a lot of artists out there that I love, but I think because I've read so much about these different artists, I appreciate them more for their character and like who they are. Because I experience a lot of things that they experience as well. Like when I went to the Basquiat exhibit in New York not too long ago. It was last year actually, and the exhibit basically detailed his life from like his early childhood. So the first part of it of the museum you walk in, they had drawings from his childhood, and I'm like, some of these kind of like remind me of some of the drawings I have still at my grandmom's house when I was little. And then throughout his life, a lot of the pieces that he made reflected what he was going through or what space like mental space he was in. So I like although our creations don't look the same, our stories kind of align in different areas. So I think I'm drawn to him. And plus he's a Capricorn, I'm a Capricorn too.
There you go, signs of light. That's all. That's always powerful. You're on mute, hostess. You're on
Well,
mute.
the dog was barking.
Oh,
So I
blame it on the
sent a
dog, just like
picture.
the homework.
So you know what? I sent a picture to Minister Chris. I don't know, Brian, if this is the one that you were
Oh
talking
my
about.
goodness,
Oh, is it there?
that
Is
is
that
phenomenal.
the one you were talking about,
yes.
maybe?
Yes.
Yes.
So that's my friend Latoya. She's from Harrisburg as well. So she was the muse, of course, for this piece.
Right.
There's a nonprofit organization called Sprocket Mural Works. So they've been responsible for a lot of the murals you'll see on 3rd Street and other areas of Harrisburg. They get contracts to put up murals on different locations and everything throughout the city, just to add that light back to the city.
Yeah.
And then they secure funding to be able to pay these artists to do these meaningful work. So this was one of them. This happened.
I sent the other one to Minister Chris.
Oh, okay.
Now, when did you do this one?
This was my signature is on it somewhere. It was 2 years ago, I believe.
Okay.
2 years. So this was commissioned by Sprocket. They had a steering committee with all Black people on there, and around that time, the country was going through a lot of turmoil from all the racial injustices that were happening. So they wanted to do this mural. They wanted to put up a mural that celebrated Black lives. So one of their main things when they met with the steering committee was to get a Black artist to do this mural, and then an artist that was from the area as well. Because sometimes they commission artists that are from like the outskirts of Harrisburg or from like other cities. So my name came up a few times in the meeting, and they reached out to me to see if I would be able to do it. And of course, I agreed because I love doing pro-Black work. Um, so they gave me the creative freedom to come up with sketches. I created 2 sketches. This is one of them, but I already knew that I wanted to use Latoya for this because she has the natural like face for something
Sure.
like that.
Absolutely.
So
That's amazing.
the piece is called Rafia. So the meaning behind it, basically, you'll see the fist in the knot of her
Right.
her head wrap. So it's a celebration of past, present, and future. So I got the name Rafia comes from Ghana. So I referenced Ghana because that was the place where the first kente cloth was born. And it was said that 2 brothers went on a hunting expedition, and on that expedition, they saw a spider weaving its web. So they took that concept of the spider weaving its web and copied that with fabrics to make their own fabrics. So instead of using threads and everything, they didn't have it, so they used raffia plant, which is kind of like the palms that we get on Easter Sunday at church. It's basically kind of it's a type of palm. So they broke it down into strands and started weaving it until it made a tight fabric. And they those 2 brothers took it to the chief of their tribe of the Akan people, and the chief was impressed. So he delegated them as the overseers of fabric. So they made all the fabric for the tribe. And over time,
Wow.
the process of them weaving it got more intricate and tougher. And over time, they actually started trading with neighboring countries like the Portuguese. And the Portuguese gave them silk and other types of fabric. So instead of them wearing the silks that were given to them, they broke it down into strands like they did the raffia plant, and remade it into their own fabrics, and they started weaving in patterns. So the kente cloth was born out of that.
Hmm.
They were all white and black, well, just white fabrics at first, but they started experimenting with making pigments, and they did that by getting grain, like taking bark from different trees and turning it into grain and mixing it with boiling water. And that would each different tree would make a different color. So then they would pour it on the fabrics and weave them together. So
Wow.
that was an homage to the past. The present's what represented by her, Latoya, the black woman. And then the big hoop earring is a symbol of how black people have made our own culture here.
Mhm.
Although our ties have been severed from our roots, it's remarkable how we've been able to take the scraps that we were given and create our own culture here. And then that culture also mirrors the roots that we've been severed from. So you'll see as we wear big hoop earrings and big gaudy jewelry, you'll see our ancestors and our African counterparts wear the big jewelry as well, for the same type of statement. And then the future is represented by the little girl who was referenced by Latoya's daughter. um, she's reading a book inside of the earring, so she's taking in all this wisdom, the culture that her mom cultivated, the culture that her roots will highlight. And it's basically the title is called Raffia, an interweaving of past, present, and future. So we're taking these elements of our past, of our ancestral code and genetics, and weaving a new culture from that, just as our ancestors took the silk fabrics and wove a new fabric of their own, so
Wow.
that's what that piece represents.
That's awesome.
That's amazing. So not only do you do the art, right? Like bars.
Right.
You just drop bars. Mic drop. So not only do you do the art and the visual art, but you're teaching, and there's a lesson, there's a lesson in it. So that is wonderful. Minister Chris, do you have the next mural?
Wow.
So, now, where is this?
This is the one in the JFK terminal. This is Bessie Coleman. It was just paying tribute to her during Black History Month, and
Awesome.
very symbolic. She was the first Black and Native American woman to retrieve her pilot license. She was working in a salon when she had the spark of wanting to fly a plane, but because not only did the country say that she couldn't do that, but like her family saw that as a dream that was unattainable as well. So she found her way through this form of oppression, that she ended up getting her pilot license in France. She flew all the way to France to train to be an aviator, and that's where she retrieved it at.
Oh my goodness. That is just amazing. That is amazing. And I just get warm, fuzzy feeling, when I see it. Adrian Love Lewis said, "Oh my goodness, that's beautiful. I love it." And it is. It is. I don't want to run out of time, but Minister Chris, can we see another video? And I wish that everybody could see everything at once,
There's also a mural that I did on 6th Street in Harrisburg. It's of the Tuskegee Airmen.
I think I sent that. I think I'll find that. Minister Chris, if you can show us the video, and I'll see if I can find that, the Tuskegee Airmen.
for me now, what I'm realizing is I'm done trying to treat people as if they're finished beings because we're all unfinished, basically. We're all unraveling. So it's very unfair for me to act like I've got you figured out.
Yeah, so that was the jazz collection that I had done last year. That last shot was when I had them hung up in New York at the art show. That was that, and it was beautiful because I didn't get to actually get it on camera, but there was a band playing as I was recording that, so it was crazy. But the if you saw the pieces, it's each musician in the piece has a African mask on. He's playing a
Yeah,
different instrument, so
yeah,
that's it's basically so the African mask that each person is wearing is from the Dan tribe, Dan tribe of the Ivory Coast in Africa, um, and the first piece that I'm working on in the video is of a child, and he's holding up his trumpet. So the rest of the men that I did were like older than the child, obviously. But in the Don tribe, when a boy transitions into manhood, they have a ceremony for him, and his rite of passage is two things. He has to make his own mask, and then he also has to carve his own instrument and play it at the ceremony. That's his rite of passage. So the men in the men that I painted with the different jazz instruments represent men that have came before him, and they have created their instrument, and they're practicing their instruments throughout their life. The instruments have become an extension of their identity, so they're owning that. So the child is like, he's holding up the trumpet because he's like, I found my instrument, I have it, The only the remarkable thing is the oldest of the series is the one holding the saxophone, and him and the child are the only two that are not playing their instruments. And so the saxophonist, he's not playing his because he represents the elder. He's played throughout his whole life. He's at that point of rest where he can just let the other men in the family practice their instruments and do that. So that was just paying tribute to that tribe, and in fact that jazz is my top favorite genre of music. I'm always painting the jazz.
yes, sir. I could totally understand
I'm
that.
bumping me some Coltrane every night.
Yes,
Okay.
sir. I
Okay, so you were probably a kid with crayons listening to jazz music, coloring inside the lines at an early age.
Yeah, my grandma still got her record player. For
That's
sure.
what's so. It's funny when I first saw that on your page, the first thing that came to mind before the African mask, was cubism. Was the first thing I initially thought of when I saw that.
Yeah.
And I was just like, wow. I said, because you didn't mention that when I asked you about your muse with for the artist.
Yeah.
And so then it was like he didn't mention cubism at all. So I was wondering if at any point did
As
that
far
even
as oh
start?
yeah, as far as like types of art, I try to venture. I think I'm venturing off into, and this is a term that's being popularized now, is Afrofuturism.
Mm,
It's just basically envisioning us in a more imagine like a fantasy, basically, like just futuristic, like it's hard to really but a whimsical element, adding a whimsical element to who we are, and just making that. So I think I'm venturing off into that, but also surrealism. One of my other favorite artists is Salvador Dali, and if you see
mhm.
his works, it's just tons of like, it's real trippy, but when you understand the elements behind each piece of symbolism in his work, it makes sense, even though it's real trippy. So I think I'm trying to venture off into that realm more. I think that helps me preserve the meaning behind my piece as well, because everything in my piece will represent some type of theme. So
awesome. That is absolutely awesome. David Walker says, big ups to speaking to your father through your art, because through that ordeal, you developed an astonishing artwork. He said, awesome brother.
thank you.
Yes, yes. And I think, let's see here, I did find, but I don't know if I can share it, but I did find the art, because I don't have it on my laptop, so I don't know how to find it. But the mural, the other mural of the Tuskegee Airmen is, it is on 6th Street, right? Correct?
Yep.
It's
Yes.
on 6th Street. And as you're coming down, I'll see if I can get to it, quickly, but it's absolutely just, it's one of those things that when you see it, and you know that you've seen something, that you've seen something. It's absolutely amazing. So I know you do paint and sips, you do, I think now, do you do a class, art class? Can you teach someone to do this?
Absolutely. So about 2 years ago, I was volunteering for a program called Youth 10 Times Better. It's led by James Lyles in Harrisburg. And it was basically an after school program where I would teach kids how to do landscape paintings. That was primarily what I was drawn to, just because the stages of doing a landscape painting, it's pretty easy, and it's it's fulfilling to go through these easy stages in the painting and see that it makes something complex in the end. So I was teaching kids that, and then after that, they let me keep the materials from the class, and I just went off and started doing private parties in different areas and everything like that. So I have two different types of instructional classes that I do. I can do a class where all of the canvases are pre-sketched. That's typically what people like more, just so they have easy guidelines to go off of, and they don't feel like the added pressure of trying to make something look like something. And then I have the landscape ones where we go off of a blank canvas and just truck away and make something beautiful.
Absolutely, absolutely. Let's see. I think I can. I don't know if. Let's see.
Sorry about that. We lost power, so my apologies.
No problem. I was just gonna keep it. So can I share my screen?
Sure, go right ahead.
Let's see. Can you guys see that?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the Tuskegee Airmen, and there are a couple of pictures, and I was just kind of quickly going through. And for anyone interested, or if you want to go on his page and see more of his work, it's Brian, Bryan, King Prolific, Prolifik, Hickman. So Brian King Prolific Hickman, and just the detail of it. So those two people are in the picture and not necessarily painted on. They're not a part
They look so real on that painting.
He really did his work on that one, didn't he?
The man in orange.
You put your big toe in that one, bro.
Yeah.
So that was actually the owner of the building there. It's his personal cigar club, and he's actually the grandson of one of the airmen. So that portrait on top of the mural is his grandfather, Charles Petty.
Wow, that's good.
That was a reference of an old photo that he gave me of him. So when we did the unveiling of this mural, we actually had some of the surviving airmen come up here from Virginia and other areas and surrounding areas to commemorate.
Wow.
So,
that's so good.
That is amazing. Let's see. My mom said I need to come back to Harrisburg real soon. Yes, you do, Mom, and I'll make sure that you not only meet Brian, but that also you go and see, and we'll take pictures in front of his work. And then I guess we all should just fly to New York and go to JFK and then fly to Miami. So, wow, that is amazing.
Wow.
So do you only have your art on your walls at home?
No, I have a couple. Well, I typically work big. Like these are like 4-foot tall canvases. So
Okay.
all of my walls are typically covered. But for the little wall space that I do have artwork from other friends of mine that are also artists that I wanted to support. So
wow.
I know we have a minute. I just want to get this quick question in.
Yeah.
Master of Light is a documentary on HBO about a gentleman that spent 10 years in prison named George Anthony Morton. Are you familiar with that by any chance?
No, I haven't.
This brother came out, I mean, he was just painting up a storm, and that now they have him like across the pond painting in different museums.
Wow. What is his name?
It's called Master of Light on HBO.
Look that up.
Yeah.
So David Walker said, I used to draw when I was in grade school, but got discouraged when someone drew better than me. Help younger children to not be discouraged. And then he said $200 for the blue one. So you hit David Walker up and you guys talk.
Oh, cool.
You guys talk about it. Yeah.
Oh, that was my main thing in my class that I taught. That was the main thing that was holding them back, because they were constantly looking to the left and right to see how the other kid was doing. So the way I remedied that was just to constantly encourage them. I'll find something good to talk about in everything that they were doing, and I'm just walking around like just building them up. So then at that point, they're looking at what they're creating, and I'm like, keep doing that. I like that. I like how you're doing that right there. And then the other person will be like, well, am I doing something right? And I'm like, yes. So to see their growth, because I actually was with them for a few years. So they went from being in grade school to middle school. So around that time, like they're just growing up. And from the first time I saw them, and they were like just so shy and reserved, to go from that to just like them not needing to raise their hand for help anymore.
Sure.
I'll be like, make a sunset, and I can just trust them to do that.
Wow, that's amazing. We need more young men in our communities and in our schools to be able to do that. And we need our young people and seasoned people to be able to see and to hear the things that you're doing and the things that you talk about. I think it's absolutely amazing. And as I said, from day one, I was like, I need to know who this brother is. I need to know what he's about, because he's got some things going on. So thank you so much. Thank you so much. You have to come back, because we didn't get through the other videos and the other pictures. So you'll have to come back again. And maybe we can do a live paint and sip on Let's Talk About It, and see if we can get Jason painting and everyone else. I want to go through.
It's been a long time since I've touched a pencil, a brush, anything. So that'll be amazing to see.
He said that he goes by and he'll say, good job. He'll find something nice to say about what you're doing. Really quick, I want to go down what one thing in your house gets used more than anything else. We had TV, toilet, and fridge were the top three. Number 4 was telephone. Number 5 was bed. 6 was coffee pot. 7 is microwave, and 8 is washing machine. I think we should go back and revisit who did they ask these questions.
I was gonna say, because all the things that were at the bottom of the list are at the top of my list.
Right, exactly. So I'm like, okay. Well, we'll work on that. And Steve Harvey clearly wasn't the one asking these questions. He was not the one asking these questions. I want to thank everyone for coming out. Adrian Love Lewis said, I'm so glad I checked y'all out tonight. Yes, please come back. And please go and check Adrian Love Lewis out. Like, this is a community, and this is our community in our village here. So we have California, we have South Carolina, we have Buffalo, we've got Harrisburg, on here. We had New Jersey on. We've got Pittsburgh. So we're all here. Let's spread the love. Let's make sure we share it. Go back and share this show with your friends. Tell them about this amazing young man that is doing all these things, making us proud. So let's keep encouraging him and lifting him up. I want to say a special thank you to Minister Chris Thomas at the Voice 17104, who is always making it happen. He is always working it out. They lost power and he still got it going. And if you have an idea for a show, or if you have something that you'd like to share, I think that's just a peach behind you, Minister Chris. But reach out to Minister Chris Thomas at the Voice 17104 and the Voice TV. So they even have a TV station. We are on several different platforms, but you can always come right back here and find us here. And Jason, hope to see you next week. Brian, anytime you're free, feel free to stop in. Let us know what you're working on. And hey, you guys, go by his murals, take a picture in front of them, send them to him. Let the brother know that you're checking him out and that you're supporting him. And reach out to him, Brian King Prolific Hickman on Facebook, and let's have some of that art in our homes. And I think that's it. And remember, it's better to quit while you're ahead.
Stop. Oh, always a pleasure, Wendy. Brian, brother, it's nice to meet you. Wonderful.
Oh, my pleasure. My pleasure. Thank you.
Absolutely. Minister Chris, always a pleasure to be here in your presence, sir. Thank you so much.